Today. There we go. I hear me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA. Yes, we're going to be talking about mail today. We're going to be talking about branding and how mail fits with that. If you're in the mail, maybe the time to stay there. Okay, but first, Tom Fishburne, the impact of ChatGPT. Okay. What will the impact of ChatGPT? What will be the impact of ChatGPT on our business? There's a lot we don't know for sure, like how much of what it says is made up, or if it will take away our jobs, or the security risks, or if it could damage our reputation. What do we know for sure? Only that we want to adopt it everywhere as fast as we can. You know, that's funny because I'm often, I don't know if I'm an early adopter, but I guess I'm a mid-early adopter or something like that. I don't want to be the first one in, but what did Ehud Barak, I think it was. No, it was, I think, Moshe Dayan. He said Israel won't be the first one in the Middle East to use nuclear weapons, but we won't be the second either. Always enjoyed that. So, you don't necessarily want to be the first one. The real explorer is the one with the arrows in his chest. The settlers come later with their blunderbusses. Anyway, so we don't know how much of it is made up, and frankly, it's not easy to tell. Apparently it does make things up and make it sound good. The second is, will it take away jobs? It's already taking away jobs. And mostly because it's being implemented by idiots who don't care. And they just as soon get rid of all the reporters of the world and all the troublemaking intellectuals who produce content. Now, I don't think, not 100% sure, but I don't think that ChatGPT will replace me right away. I've seen what Dr. Augustine Fu did with those beautiful young women reading his bio, and it was pretty effective. I think we could maybe clean me up. Scott Adams tried to replace his own intro picture with like a buffed up picture of himself, and people didn't like it. I don't think it got as many likes and views and all that. But as far as I know, I have no plans to replace me. I want to keep this proof of life going. And video, I think, is harder to replace. I think, it still doesn't get maybe it overdoes the mouth movements in a funny way or times it differently or something. It just doesn't look right. Head movements aren't quite right, aren't natural. Any more than, actors who are thinking about their head movements aren't natural. It's kind of funny that way. I don't think about it much. Sometimes I look at the camera directly, but mostly I look at the little picture of me underneath the camera. And it's hard to tell because I squint a little. My eyes have grown shut as I get older. But anyway, apparently with 10 minutes of video, you can replicate me. So there's plenty more than that. Security risks. Yeah, some companies have uploaded software code and then asked either ChatGPT or other AI to fix it, essentially. Without realizing that they're giving away their proprietary software, because oftentimes the terms of use say anything you use as source material to our online AI becomes our property, or something like that. I think it was Sanyo who did that. I think, or Samsung rather. Or if it could damage our reputation. Of course, it can. Microsoft right off the bat when they tried an early version of it on Twitter, it basically had to take it down after a day or two because it was using all kinds of foul language that it found on Twitter and thought that was relatable. But everybody wants to jump in. 67% of senior IT leaders are pushing to adopt it across their business, 1/3 naming it their top priority, which seems really, really dumb. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a second. 59% that generative AI outputs are inaccurate, and 79% have security concerns. Urgency without clarity is a recipe for missteps. NEDA replaced a 6-person helpline team and 20 volunteers with a chatbot named Tessa. I think they could have at least come up with 26 different names for Tessa. A week later, NEDA had to disable Tessa because the chatbot was recorded giving harmful advice that could make eating disorders worse. So it's probably the National Eating Disorder Association or something like that. Probably ED is for the eating disorder. Anyway, thankfully someone at least listened to the recordings. In the future, we'll decide that AI is fine. It's no worse than our worst telemarketers. So let's just let it go. One advantage would be that it could say the things that were scripted. An alternative might be to give ChatGPT its own information repository and exclude the online world of the internet. And there's one of the guys I follow on Twitter is working on that. I'll keep you posted on that. But he says you can download it in just 5 gig of information, and it will run offline, and it will therefore utilize the information you tell it to rather than whatever it seems to find. That seems to be one of the biggest problems with AI plagiarizing from a wide array of sources. BCG Chief Ethics Officer Stephen Mills called for a freedom within framework type of approach. Freedom within framework. Freedom within a framework. Okay. It's important folks get a chance to interact with these technologies and use them because it's going to be deployed in an organization by your employees whether you know about it or not. Rather than trying to pretend it won't happen, take a quick let's put in place a quick set of guidelines. I think it might be prudent to think about the guidelines just a bit, okay? And let employees know what the guardrails are and actively encourage responsible innovations and responsible experimentation. When has that ever happened? That's not the fun part. Okay, so one of the safeguards is human in the loop. I've been working with machine learning since 1994 when the Hudson Bay Company asked us to build a model of their best customers. And I said, best customers for what? And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, you sell everything from life insurance to gasoline, trips to Cancun, trips to the Yukon. They're all different. Maybe we should build a model for the kind of offers that you're building. And that was kind of one of our breakthroughs that we had that few of the other AI people, machine learning people, AI is a more generic term. Machine learning is more specific. It means it's got a data set to work with and know the difference between 2 data sets. That's kind of the easy, straight up machine learning. But we always had a human in the loop. I've personally done about, I don't know, thousands, easily thousands of machine learning models, and every one I validated by hand, reading all the cells, figuring out if it made any sense or not. Most of the time it doesn't. The best thing about big data and machine learning is you build spurious correlations that can't possibly have anything to do with the real world. So just because something can be automated doesn't mean it should be. Generative AI tools aren't always capable. I love this sentence, right? This is from either Katie Baxter or Yoav Schlesinger. Generative AI tools aren't always capable of understanding emotional or business context. Here's a clue. They're never able to understand emotional or business context. That's not what they do. They find correlations between the question you asked and a wide array of information. They sift, okay? They don't create, they sift. They sift out things they don't think make a correlation, and they keep things that they think do. Think is not the proper word. It's just math, right? And without knowing when you're wrong or damaging, right? There's no intelligence behind it. It's just correlations. It's just math, p-values, okay? Humans need to be involved to review outputs for accuracy, bias, sort out bias, and ensure that models are operating as intended, which they're not. They're never operating as intended, right? That's not what they do. They don't understand intent. They don't understand the question. It's p-values. So I want to be stronger here than even Tom Fishburne. Have you figured out how AI will impact your business? Working on it. How will AI impact our business? There are many ways that AI can, so that's the way AI writes. It always restates your question. And I have yet to see something that, that was actually coherent and beneficial. But I see a lot of articles that are awful. And that may be the reason AI is implemented. It's not because it's good. It's because most of the articles I read here aren't, right? It's not that hard to beat humans when the humans have never been taught to write or think. AI turns a single bullet point into a long email I can pretend I wrote. And then on the other end, AI makes a single bullet point out of this long email I can pretend I read. That's a great one. How did you get a budget approval for all this? They're out on a yacht drinking champagne. I told them the name of the project, AI, and that's a key. If you have no ethics and you want to have a lot of fun, tell your CFO that you're working on things that are in AI. Okay, dissolution of CADM. I mentioned this last week. Here's the frequently asked questions. Will we be having a direct marketer of the year? No. The Chicago chapter of the American Marketing Association has stepped up to support CADM during this transition and is offering CADM members the opportunity to attend AMA Chicago events at AMA member rates until July 31st. Okay, so the Chicago AMA is not buying CADM. It's going down, and you've got a month or two before it's completely vanished. This is the Chicago Association of Direct Marketing, which had some content to it, but they left off basically testing and mail and switched over to digital about 15 years ago. And I predicted the dissolution of it then, along with the DMA, which used to be the Direct Mail Marketing Association when I got in. And then it changed to the Direct Marketing Association, took out the word mail, and then it went to the Data and Marketing Association, and the minute I heard that, I said, this is not long for this world. It got taken away. It got bought by ANA and gone, essentially completely gone, and even shut down the Echo Awards with their 86-year history. I was the last judge of the Echo Awards. I probably put it under by myself. No, I was a contributor. Okay, so it's all gone, and they left off their distinguishing feature. United Mail announces rebrand name change to United Direct Solutions. And this is a great example. And I talked about Quad. Built by Quad does not remove the name Quad, but, here's United Mail. Okay, I've heard of it. A lot of people have heard of it. Guess what? I have never heard of United Direct Solutions. Now you're going to compete with every AI, every ad agency that's done a little dabble in some kind of testing, some kind of data, some kind of something. Direct Solutions has absolutely no meaning. Zero. Okay? Why did you change? Did you test it? No. It better represents the use of our latest tools and everyone else's, right? You've just waded into something. I got a message this morning from someone who said, he was recommended to me because he's interested in mail and wants to know where to go to get some. Okay, notice, one of the fastest growing companies in America is Postcard Mania, and a somewhat sister company, Direct Mail 2.0. They're growing. Why? Because people are looking for mail. And just when they're looking for mail, Quad changes their emphasis to a communication company, which is, that's one of the things you can major in college and no one knows what you're doing. Communication as a word does not communicate. And United Direct Solutions does not communicate. Okay? Is that the kind of stuff you mix up to test the contents of a fluid? No, it's a solution. Suspended in solution or whatever. No. Okay, so Tom Klein's, the president and CEO, says that mail doesn't represent what we do. Maybe you don't print much anymore. Maybe you're not a printer. In which case, good luck, right? But we're doing digital marketing. I think that ship has passed. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the disasters in digital marketing. Okay, but we're not only in direct marketing, but in personal relationship marketing also. So you're embracing these concepts that probably are unworkable, especially in light of privacy. And but the chief sales and marketing officer, Dana Newman, says it's incredibly exciting. To whom? To the marketing department. Okay, so now let's go on to this. Why not changing can be the most effective move marketer makes. Okay, and this is from John Evans. My friend John Evans, I've been hitting him a lot today because he puts out good stuff. Okay, Tina Turner just passed away, and one of her best works was Simply the Best, released in 1989. Right after that, she released I Don't Want to Lose You, okay, which is still one of the top, which is almost in the top 10 of her most streamed songs. But imagine if following up on The Best, she got rather bored of it, and every time she got interviewed said, you should listen to my other works. They're really good too. But no, she kept promoting The Best as the best. And so John was in charge of one of UK's more popular soft drinks, Ribena, and they were reformulating it, and they came up with a new flavor, and they planned a big campaign announcing the new flavor, but he wasn't really comfortable, and so he started testing it. Let the data decide. They tested, and they decided to test it against what they'd done the year before. And what happened was, not only was the year before's campaign better, but the year before's campaign was the best campaign ever tested by System 1 in the category. Okay, so they decided to just leave it alone. And the marketing department said, well, what are we going to tell all our distributors, and our retailers that stock this stuff? He said, tell them we're going to do the most effective campaign in our history, and they better stock up. And we're going to save on ad agency fees to reinvest and buy even more media. And so Ribena achieved a 4-year market share peak despite the introduction of despite changing their actual soda flavor. And so basically data from System 1, where John now works, says that far from wearing out, the majority of good creative actually wears in. And he references another article called Most of Your Assets Are Not, I don't know where that one went. Most of your assets are not distinctive. You know what's distinctive about United Mail? The word mail. I think I made that point. And you know what? Now we don't know what you are. We literally do not know what you are. I guess you're sick of printing. Okay, well, find somebody. If you want to do mail, find somebody who does mail. And don't be afraid to admit it. We'll see. Time will tell. But, I've been right about a lot of these things. I have the gift of simplicity of mind. And so John gives greater examples and also We have another article called 15% of your assets, only 15% of your assets are distinctive, and the word male is distinctive, and I'll include those in the show notes. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye.